In 76 days, Congressman Byron Donalds will face off against Republican turned Democrat David Jolly to succeed Ron DeSantis and keep Florida red. With us now, the Republican nominee for governor of Florida, Congressman Byron Donalds. I'm sure you're a little bit tired after a late night, but thank you for waking up early and congratulations to you. We know the Democrats have not won the governor's mansion since the mid-90s. How are you planning to keep the Republican streak clean come November?
Well, first of all, this is going to be about the people of Florida. It always is. Floridians continue to choose our state. People are multi-generation, like my wife. She's a sixth-generation Floridian. Those who move to our state, because, to be honest, they don't want the crazy of New York and New Jersey and now what's happening to Virginia and Illinois. They don't want that, and they've chosen Florida. We are a common-sense conservative state. Ron DeSantis, our current governor, has done a great job. We back the blue. We just have a common-sense economic policy, and we leave people alone and let them live their lives. And that's really the recipe for success here. That's what our voters want, regardless if they're a Republican, an independent, or even Democrats in our state who are registered here. They want to just live the Florida dream. They want the best for their children going forward. And that's going to be our platform in this general election campaign. But we do have to tackle some affordability issues in our state. Insurance prices have really hurt a lot of families. We got to push those costs down. Voters will be going to the polls this November to decide what they're going to do on property taxes in our state. But we want to set a goal for eliminating them, or at a minimum targeting that relief to seniors on fixed income and working families. And last, when it comes to housing, our young people want to be able to build a home for themselves and build a family for themselves. We have got to address the government side of permitting costs that drives up the cost of construction in our state. So we think that our vision and our platform speaks to where voters are and what they need in order to continue to live in our states and to keep the Florida dream alive and well.
So as we mentioned, Congressman, you're going to be facing off against former Republican Congressman David Jolly, who during his own victory speech last night clearly showed he's planning to go negative. He plans to blame you for rising costs and accused you of selling the governor's mansion to the highest bidder. Take a listen.
The state is watching. Voters are smarter than you think. You see, Byron Donalds has sold the governor's mansion to the highest bidder. And the special interests across the state have been happy to play ball, folks. Let me tell you something. Byron Donalds might be for sale, but Gwen Graham and David Jolly never are. We never are.
He says the voters are smarter than that, but apparently Democrats have no problem blaming gas prices, but even an inflation under Biden. Do they actually think that they're going to blame it on you?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Listen, the affordability issues that are really hurting families all through the country, that was brought to us by the Democrat Party. That was their economic policy under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that unleashed the largest inflation our country has seen in over 50 years. David Jolly said that he's happy to be in the Democrat Party and he felt welcomed by Kamala Harris. Well, that's the same Kamala Harris that left our borders unsecured, allowing 10 million illegal immigrants to come into our country. That's the same Kamala Harris, the same David Jolly that still supports men and women's sports, that supports transgendering our kids. And when it comes to affordability, all we've ever seen from Democrats is a lot of promises, but higher prices. Look at healthcare today. That's Democrat policy under Barack Obama. What have we seen? Premiums are higher, deductibles are higher, the costs are out of control, and families are struggling as a result. The reason why Florida has continued to be Republican and be conservative is simply because our policies work. That's why people come to our state. And so David Jolly can say whatever he wants, but the truth is he's just a Trojan horse for the Democrat Socialists of America. He will actually come into the state and undo the great work of Governor DeSantis, stuff that the people of Florida do not want to see happen. They love this state. They love the trajectory. Yes, we have to get prices under control across the board in a lot of different areas, but that's because the Democrats broke this economy almost 4 years ago, and families are still having to dig out from under that mess created by the Democrats.
It's interesting you brought up the Socialists, because I do want to ask about Socialist candidates. Two did not win their challenges, but in that Senate race, as you know, establishment Democrat Alex Vindman lost to Democratic Socialists of America member Angie Nixon. Now she will go up against Senator Ashley Moody in November. There are millions of Floridians living in that state that fled socialism. Will they vote for it?
No, they're not going to vote for it. I'll tell you that right now. Whether you're in Miami or even if you're in the panhandle of Florida, People in our state, they reject socialism. They do not want to see the Mamdani style, the AOC style in the state of Florida. And that's what Angie Nixon represents. Let's be clear. And so does David Jolly, because he plays the moderate on the campaign trail. But that's the same thing Abigail Spanberger did in Virginia. She played moderate through that governor's election last year. When she got in, she governed as a radical. And so the people of our state, they reject socialism for so many reasons. But when you talk to Cubans in our state, when you talk to Venezuelans in our state, they have seen it firsthand. They saw the empty promises that turned into despair, frankly, turned into communism, turned into a destruction of human liberty. They've come to Florida to escape all that. They do not want to see that happen in our state. So we anticipate that the voters of Florida are going to speak loud and clear. They're going to reject the socialism from the Democratic left, from these Democrat socialists, and from David Jolly.
Well said, Congressman Byron Donalds. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.